Dude, what is my life if it can't be,
Documented and live on YouTube.
documented for the masses? Okay, I'm going to share this link with you. I've got that muted.
Let's see. I'll do it too. I'll do it too. Ding, ding, ding. Ding.
Do you have the link?
Yes. Okay. And then I'm going to take a picture of us.
Wait, I'm not looking. Hold on. No. Okay. Where are we at?
Are you ready to pose?
Wait, what should I do?
I boomeranged it anyway.
Okay.
I have to redo it. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
And then I'm going to add the link.
Okay. Do we have any friends here yet? Friends, say hello. Sorry, we're just like talking amongst ourselves. Let's give it just like a couple minutes to gain some friends. I've never watched Gilmore Girls. I don't know about you, Cheney. Was never my vibe.
Me either, but I do think that I just learned in the last 2 weeks that Melissa McCarthy was on that show.
Oh, I knew that. Like I watched
I
it like
didn't.
here and there. But I wasn't like a Gilmore girl, if you know what I mean.
You weren't a Gilmore girl.
Did you see what I did there? Okay,
right.
people, give us a couple minutes. I'm posting this everywhere. Oh, this just sucks. What am I doing? No, that's awful. Too much tongue, Maria. Too much tongue.
There.
How are you feeling tonight, people? What's on your mind? What could we talk about?
Were you not telling me after I just told you?
No, I'm talking to the people in the chat.
No, I was talking about for the picture you just took. Oh, or unless you were just looking at yourself in the selfie.
It was a selfie.
Yeah, I think we're blowing up comets today. It's new moon.
Oh, it's Armageddon, baby. I don't want to miss a thing.
Aerosmith. Full Ben Affleck.
Oh, it's Armageddon, baby.
You do that 100% of the time.
Just love me. Just love me. Nobody else will, but you just love me.
I have Nicki Minaj up because maybe we're going to make the news this hurricane season. That was the goal when I bought her.
Tits. Oh, I see you strategically covered up the tits.
I know. My lighting's a little bit better, but my camera is a lot closer. I have to get comfortable with it.
Girl. Hey, girl. Hey.
Usually it's like me and Nikki chilling together.
Okay. I think I got this posted.
I did not strategically cover up the tits.
Where it needs to be. Damn it. I got to post it on Maria too. Lord, there's just too many accounts. I got to tell you what. Sometimes when I just talk to myself, I just crack myself up. You guys, if you want to know something about me, I think I'm the funniest person alive.
She really does.
And that's all that matters to me is that I make myself laugh. If you guys don't get it, I'm like, oh, God, I just don't get it.
You're
Oh
witty.
man.
You impressed me with your wit.
Thank you. I wasn't looking for a compliment. I was just really just
I,
telling you, like, I think the funniest person alive.
I'm not a baiter of compliment fishing.
Wait,
I
what?
was just saying it.
Thank you.
I wasn't baiting your compliment fish hook.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Speaking of being funny, I think I'm gonna be funny tonight.
Oh
Told you this
boy.
earlier.
You're gonna ruin it.
Dude, I have so much wild shit to talk about. Let's be real.
Okay. I'm into it. I can't
I'm
wait.
into it. We're into it. There's a lot that's gone on since our last episode together. Unfortunately, I got into a wreck last week.
Yes, we were supposed to be here last week, and you not a fault of your own, but fender bender in the Bronco.
I know, it was so sad. Everyone, it's episode 97. Welcome back. You know, I had this moment. I was laying in my bed smoking a joint, and I just wanted a little Chick-fil-A before I podcast last week. And I thought, okay, just get it delivered. It's not far from here. And you know what? I hear that stupid term or that phrase all the time. You get into like 90% of wrecks happen within like 2 or 3 miles from your home. It's true. My ass was coming from Chick-fil-A. An accident happened in the intersection and then slammed into me.
I hate the statistic.
I don't like
hate
any
it.
statistics because you know what
Me
statistics
either.
are? Do you know what they
Bullshit.
are? It's order.
Well,
There's
let me
no
just tell you the
chaos.
thing.
It's
No, let me
all
just tell you.
order.
No,
Hey, this is Project Cheney, everyone.
Hi. The reason most accidents happen closest to your house is that's the circumference you are. Even whether you're in the longest trip or the shortest trip, you're still in the circumference of your house a majority of the time. So therefore, that it's a bullshit statistic because it's obvious where you get in the most accidents because it's where you are the most. It's like when they are like, oh, you have more chance of getting struck by lightning than getting bit by a shark until you walk into the ocean, and then
Unless you
your
live in
statistic
Florida,
jumps up.
baby.
Yeah, it's just most statistics are bullshit. They're just like worded, weirdly.
Weirdly.
Why did that just trigger me?
I don't know, dear. It's a Monday night and we're triggered.
Don't you bring
For your
up accidents
information.
happening by your house? Bullshit.
Sadly, though, my bumper is like so fucked. At least I'll get a new bumper out of this, which I was eventually going to do. But I was driving that thing every day. Like it was my happy place. Like I was Peter Pan, like in my happy place. I could have flown that day. Anyways. What's your happy place? Will you tell anyone? Ooh, pee. Sorry.
Is everything okay?
He never growls.
Oh, is everything okay? Do you have a ghost in there?
No, we're okay.
Okay.
We're in my front room. We're never in here.
I love being in front of a grill. I love plating food. That's like my real happy place. It seems so ridiculous, but I like tedious plating of food.
Now we're talking like gourmet type, like artistic plating, right?
Yeah. I want a Michelin star. I want tweezers. I want squirt bottles. I want to prep all day for artistic plates. And I want them to be flavored in such a way like they're almost architecture. I like food.
But
So
see,
yeah.
I love this about you because I'm just a bougie bitch and I love a little Michelin star restaurant. So we just like go hand in hand together. You know?
I know. We're both such nerdy foodies.
Well, the thing is, it's just you can only do that with certain people. You know, like if you and I were on a trip together and that's something that we wanted to endeavor, then we're likely going to endeavor like a tasting menu and a wine tasting menu, and that can be expensive, and that's just not for everyone. But it's
An
so
odd
much
thing about
fun.
us too. Like if you picked 10 of your favorite foods and I picked 10 of my favorite foods, a couple of them would line up. Like we're both obsessed with chicken salad. Like to an obscene amount.
Good filet.
A good filet. We love steak tartare.
Yeah.
You probably get down on sushi more than I do these days.
I sure
But
do.
when I was your age, I used to eat a lot of sushi.
Okay. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, sis. Sorry. But yeah, so what have you been up to? Tell the class what's new with you. You're battening down the hatches, aren't you?
We're hunkering down in Florida. We have a hurricane coming. If you are, I don't know what the news is saying. I think it's going to hit probably like the eye of the storm will hit south of Tampa, which is directly, almost directly across the state from me. And the northeastern part, there tends to be a lot of tornadoes. So, how it comes on anytime there's a Gulf storm that hits the state, we have tornado weather for, probably half a day. I'm thinking like Tuesday, it's going to
Like
start
tomorrow
ramping
Tuesday or
up.
like week Tuesday?
I think tomorrow it'll hop over tomorrow night. By Wednesday morning, our winds will probably start ramping up, is my guess. Uh, it's going to go all the way across us, I think, and then it's going to reestablish in the Atlantic and hit South Carolina. So,
Oh
I,
wow. So it's like Gulf going across and then going up.
yeah, it's going to be
That
a
sounds
nasty
planned
little
as
storm.
fuck.
It's going to be a nasty, nasty little storm. But there was a storm in Florida. All the storms are named. So Hurricane Charlie, it kind of reminds me of that, how it's going to chew up the state. And it will be fine. The winds, the rains. Tampa will have, it'll be rough for Tampa. They're a coastal community, and the Gulf isn't as prepared as the Atlantic side for the water rise because usually they're really calm over there compared to us. So, but most of Florida has pretty good drainage. If it is a category 4 when it hits, it's going to be pretty bad because all the way across to Orlando is warm water, warm swamp. But Florida, we'll go without power for like a week or two, and depending on where you're at in the state. And the one lucky thing is the politics of it, and it's going to be red October. And Florida is a very important state with a very important election coming up. So we're going to have every politician down here handing out FEMA money and MREs.
Well,
So it should be okay.
that's what the state loves to do. The state's dependent very much on the federal government, but they all do it. But they declare that it's a state of emergency. And when they do that, they receive certain federal funding. Now, I have a couple questions for you as a Floridian. Does it ever get so bad that you would reconsider your residence just based on the weather?
No.
Do you,
I
is it is it like a badge of honor?
Yeah, you're not a real Floridian until I almost am appreciative. If there was just a category 1 or 2, I'm like, good, because it'll make the property
Pish posh.
values calm down, because all the Connecticut people, New Jersey people, New England people that are just down here and they think, yay, I moved to Florida during COVID. And, it's not the storm, but the storm can rip a roof off over your head. Like I've had it happen to me. I've been chilling in a house and then all of a sudden the outside was inside. So there's that, but it's afterward, if you have animals, it's, you just have to be prepared. But I have a generator, I have gas, I have water, I have food. And yeah, Floridians are prepped AF. We're ready for this. It's the other states like North Carolina will have a rougher time, or South Carolina. The Carolinas will have a harder time building back better than Florida will.
In like the state of being that you are now, with your knowledge on DARPA, with your knowledge on HARP, like, do you look at the hurricane differently at all? Or is it just like not, excuse me, is it just a force of nature?
I totally believe in cloud seeding, and these things are all based on, it's not Gulf Stream, jet stream, it's how hot the water is. I think it'd be so easy. Like, even look at all the oil rigs in the Gulf, and then the stuff that they cleaned the oil up with out of the Gulf. Who's to say that doesn't make water temperature a few degrees warmer? If you make water temperature a few degrees warmer, watch this hurricane. When it drops up off the other side of the Cuban mountains, it is going to, there's just the water so warm. So it like feeds on this warm water. I think it would be so easy. You don't just have to cloud seed. You could just go down with a boat and put a chemical in the water. You just have it 1 degree. It's going
the
to
butterfly
feed the
effect,
storm. Yeah, and so that's one, but I also believe in sorcery and witchcraft with weather. So I think all these things are kind of happening. I think landmarks control weather, like the Eye of the Needle, the St. Louis Arch. Um, it's just certain monoliths, probably certain chants. Look at ancient cultures did rain dances. So yeah.
Now, in the context of loosh and energy and the idea that there's some sort of archon, dementor, something that harnesses energy, do you think we harness energy from a hurricane?
I almost feel like because there's an eye of a storm, you have the spiral effect. Um, it's kind of interesting because even Jupiter's close to us, like closer to us
Right
today
now, it's like
than
the closest.
the closest that it's going to be until like 2142 or something, 2147. I don't know. But it's also like Zeus, which has the lightning bolt in this storm effect. And so to me, everything's probably ritual. And yeah, it looks like it's harnessing energy. That's what the storm looks like it's doing. And we were talking about it sometime this week, I think, that when I was younger, I just remember tornadoes being one strength and hurricanes being far larger, but never the strength of a tornado. And
Right. It was almost always about the the hurricane speed. We were always talking about 100 miles an hour, 150 miles an hour. But it was never like a tornado to me was like DEFCON, like F5.
yeah,
It's a fucking twister. I don't know.
but now it seems like
But
it
now it seems flip flopped.
and they I think it would behoove them if they're modifying weather to be like, oh, look, it's global warming or it's, climate change. But really, they're just amping up these storms by heating everything up and then
I don't know. I mean,
catastrophe.
you could have a whole argument. Like recently, I was reposting these videos onto my stories last week about, do you remember last summer there were like bombs in the ocean? There was just like all this
Yeah.
stuff going on with the ocean.
Right
And
off
so
Florida.
all
The
of these,
Navy right off Florida was like
they were doing like
nukes,
weird
atomic
exercises, like
bombs.
nukes. Yeah. And so those of us who talk about how like space could be an ocean and maybe hollow earth is like just really an entrance to space. I don't know, whatever the fuck however you want to go with that. But like, could there really be this like galactic battle with the deep ocean? And so like is hurricane season like a part of that somehow?
Like the abyss.
The Marianas Trench.
Yeah, do you remember that movie, The Abyss?
I don't know that I saw it.
It's a James Cameron movie. And it's some deep oil seed uh diggers, I guess they're well drillers or something, but instead of being on top of the water, they go deep, 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 deep down, and they run into alien life down there. But it's
Oh,
so
there's
deep.
most definitely alien life down there somewhere. Like Marianas Trench, the furthest part we've never been to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? I'm
No, I think it's the second furthest part. I don't know why. I think the one off Japan might be, or is that the?
No, Marianas Trench is the deepest part of the ocean because
Mhm.
it's analogous to the what they call Marianas Web, which is supposed to be like an homage to Marianas Trench, which is the deepest part of the ocean. Marianas Web being the deepest part of the internet, the eighth level of the internet.
Is that the one off Japan, Marianas Trench? Or is
I'm
that
not
the
sure
one
of the
off
location
Florida?
off the top of my head, but I do know it's the deepest part.
Yeah, Florida's curious though. It's especially the way it, like you're saying, right off the edge of Florida is like the deepest cliff, and you know, second deepest. They say the Bermuda Triangle's there, but at the Devil's Triangle is off Japan. There's like, well, I guess there's a few triangles around the planet, they say.
We talk about like deep underground military bases all the time and how the elite have these deep underground military bases. And where do they exist, and do they line up with the constellations when you look at like a bird's eye picture of the Americas? And sometimes I wonder, like, what if space is an ocean? Like, couldn't there just be a bubble in the ocean that's a deep underground military base with the pressure like so perfectly pressurized that it's like real life? And then who's to say that we're not in one of those right now?
Yeah, like even if you blow a bubble around your own face, like I don't know if you've ever done it or come up under something where you have that little bubble of air.
Right, exactly.
So if they just put a dome and they just came up underneath it, that's kind of the idea of the abyss, is that they can swim underneath this one part and come up into an open water spot inside this like
I've
planted
seen
submarine.
videos of those on TikTok. Have you seen those where people have they've dove and they've come up and there are these like mirror like puddles that you can like they're afraid to like stick their hands and stuff into.
Yes, it's exactly like that. James Cameron's on one. He's
He's next level. That's fucking predictive programming
he's
or soft
seen stuff.
disclosure.
It's soft disclosure. There's something about Avatar that rings true to me. There's something about the Tree of Life that rings true to me. There's something about the Titanic, like the rewriting a history of the Titanic that he's doing in that movie, and the abyss and the alien life being under the sea instead of coming from space. I think it's really key. It would be so them to have us look up all the time when we should be watching the water.
What did old Q say? Watch that water, baby. And what if Titanic, the movie, was not even about saying anything? It was just like, hey, look at the Titanic, like dig here. We all got enthralled with the relationship between Leonardo and Kate Winslet. But like, what if he was just like, hey, this is something to research.
Oh my
Avatar
gosh.
simulation theory. This is something to research.
What about this idea? We keep these evil overlords, whatever they are, like let's say Agartha is real, like these inner earth demons. We keep them at bay by like paying them homage
The
somehow.
hurricanes.
Yeah.
We give them the
No,
hurricanes
we
every year.
sink the Titanic, we fill it with gold and treasures, and then we sink it so they can take the Earth's riches. That would be the Anunnaki idea again.
Speaking of gold, and I haven't shared this with you because I was going to put it into a post, but I forgot about it until now. But I found an article, and this would be the most apropos time to put it on the screen, but we're not prepared like that today. It was an article from maybe like 2015, maybe 2013, but I want to say 2015 from CERN. And it was talking about all of the gold that CERN had produced as a byproduct of the God particle. And we've never talked about that before. They've never disclosed it since then. But it was something like 7 tons of gold. And I immediately thought of you, but I wanted to like formulate it into my post and then share it with you when I had some more information. But I'm thinking of it now. And it's just like, oh shit. What if this isn't about portals at all? Like it's just alchemy. Like CERN they're just using great deals of energy to alchemize.
I just can't believe whatever it has to be usable. I just can't believe like their goal isn't to get Bitcoin. Their goal isn't to get dollar bills. They need usable metal. So it's whatever it is for. That's where like the Anunnaki philosophy makes somewhat sense, is there seems to be some kind of older than us energy that's been around this planet, or maybe if you believe in a space philosophy, even inhabited other planets in our solar system, and they need this metal for an atmosphere, for conductivity,
For time travel, maybe for
time.
like something.
Well, we hear the tops of the
fuel.
pyramids, the tops of these things, we always hear that they used to be capped like with some sort of precious metal. And then if you look at every state capital, not every state capital, but a lot of states capitals, or even country capitals like in Israel, they're domed. They're either gold plated or
Copper.
copper.
Sometimes.
That's
I
conductive.
saw some sort of video where they'd taken a drone to the top of one of the pyramids in Egypt, and from a distance it appears as if it comes to a point, but from the drone bird's eye view it was flat, and there was like all these inscriptions on those flat pieces of stone or whatever they were. But it was also hypothesizing about how there was like a gold top to this, and like where did the gold tops to these pyramids go?
And would it be just energetically? If you just, I know nothing about nothing, but it's like granite, limestone, marble, silver, gold, copper. They're doing something. They're doing something energetically. It's not just for looks.
Do you wear gold? Do you wear jewelry?
Yeah, I like it sometimes. If I put it on, I think about it like armor. I like silver the most.
Is there a reason for that? The vampires?
It's divine feminine. It's the most reflective metal of the moon, and it actually get colder in the moon. You can feel it. It's super conductive, maybe like top 3 conductive metals. It's hard and usable, different than gold. Gold's soft. And yeah, it's very
This is the
moon.
welder in you.
Yeah, it's very Diana. It's very moon goddess Artemis.
Okay. Did you bring any topics for us today?
Do you want to fuck Mary Kill?
Oh, do you have one?
I got maybe more than one.
Okay. So let's you like about to tell me this one, but for those of you who are listening to this live in the chat, if you could come up with like a really good fuck Mary Kill, we'll come up back to it in a second. Okay.
Okay.
And go.
Bill Gates,
Okay.
Joe Biden,
Okay.
Bill Cosby.
All right. I'm obviously marrying Gates for the money.
Okay.
And
I feel like I heard your thought aloud, and I am just like,
what did you hear?
you think Bill Cosby has the biggest dick, so you would fuck him.
I was like, well, if I wanted to get freaky, I guess I'd fuck Cosby. Or if I just have to check the box, I guess I'll fuck Biden. Like, do I get a prize at the end of it?
I'm killing Biden. Wait, I'm killing Gates.
You're killing Gates? You're not taking the money?
No,
Think of all the things we could do with that money.
I'm marrying Bill Cosby. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Okay. I'm gonna marry Bill Cosby because he's funny. Like some of his stand-ups really good. And I probably would be more likely to lean down that it's a conspiracy setup for him. Because
I've heard that before.
They're never gonna let a black man rise to the level of being like the America's favorite dad. That's not going to be the image that they try to.
It's too early for that.
Yeah, they're not. It's no, they're just never going to do it because they don't want there to be a black man in a household. They don't want a black father. They don't want any father.
It doesn't perpetuate the narrative they want for that racial demographic for them because it's all about perpetuating conflict.
Yeah.
So we remove that character from the narrative for those people, which it shouldn't be like that, but this
yeah, and
what they try to do.
They're like, well, how can you say that? There's 50 women. 50 or one, they can all be CGI, or they could be paid off, or they could be, when you look at the people closest to Bill Cosby, the same as Michael Jackson, the people that really knew him. No, none of those people sell him down. None of those people sell him down river. None of them ladies that worked with him all them years, like none of them do it. And there's no reason for them to keep his cover now. So,
right.
I don't know, but I guess I'm gonna have to fuck Joe Biden.
Are you into necrophilia?
I know. Can I peg him? I'll break him. I mean, I'm gonna knock the bottom out of Biden.
I suppose if you had to fuck Biden, I guess you would really want to fuck him and like be the one fucking him.
Yeah, if I'm gonna have to do it. And then I'll take pictures of it. And then that'll be what I run on. That'll be my platform I run on the next time.
I was gonna say we could use it for my campaign too.
Yeah. Once that's out there of me, I'll be like, just film it, put it live.
Okay, let's talk about that real quick. in the context of, I love to think of myself sometimes, I could be this like great, I hate like an Olivia Pope, to make a TV reference, like a political strategist / consultant, like you and I talk about how we could like be fixers in that way sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck was I going with this? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know
Political
either. We were talking
consultant,
about running for office.
pegging Joe Biden on camera,
I'm really not even high right now. I just lost my train
fixing
of thought.
people's campaigns.
Oh well, it doesn't matter. Let's go on.
Do you want another
We'll
fuck,
come
marry,
back to
kill?
it. Sure.
I can clean your palate. I can do one of two things. I can do kind of silly, or kind of, I guess it could be sexy.
It's dealer's choice.
Okay. We're going to do cute boys. Okay. This is a line of what I think straight ladies think are cute boys. Okay. But I think there are 3 different types of dudes. So more on that. Fuck, marry, kill, Shia LaBeouf, Ryan Gosling, or Ryan Reynolds.
I hear bad juju stuff about Ryan Reynolds in the blind item gossip sphere. So I think I would kill him. I would marry Ryan Gosling and I would fuck Shia LaBeouf.
You said that hardcore.
I'm so horny, Jamie.
I think I'm gonna marry Shia LaBeouf. He's
okay.
Totally my type. I think he's cute. I'll fuck Ryan Gosling and I'll kill Ryan Reynolds. His personality annoys me. He seems like a numbed down Robin Williams. It's just as much like, turn it off, buddy.
What was the movie that he did about Christmas? That was his last good movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Forgiveness. It's got Anna, what's her face in it? And she's like, he's her agent. She's a singer. Forgiveness.
I don't know. I like him, and I even forgot what Ryan we were talking about already.
Ryan Reynolds. How have you not seen this movie?
He's Ready Player One.
No,
right?
Just Friends.
All right. Good guy. The good guy.
Okay, Just Friends. I think Just Friends was his last good movie. And every character he has done since then is based on that character in Just Friends. And then that's like sometime thereafter he sold out. And he and what's his face that's married to Katherine Schwarzenegger, Chris Pratt, they are so Hollywood deep now. Don't you think?
Isn't Chris Pratt kind of a MAGA guy?
Yeah, but I think that Kim K, Chris Pratt, they are both being groomed for politics, and Matthew McConaughey. But Chris Pratt, you really got to look at Chris Pratt. You got to look at his connection with Katherine Schwarzenegger and the like, oh my God, she's so fucking cringy. I watch her on social media sometimes with like the podcasts that she's doing and babies and all that stupid shit. Pardon, I don't mean it like that, everyone. It's just like the way that they offer it. But they are grooming him. So like that actor, Kim is an actor, McConaughey, all like seated for politics, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, all
if
the
we don't break it.
kids are Kennedy kids.
Right.
Yeah. I can see all that. I could see all that. Arnold was a very popular, easy win of governor of California back when. And, he also, I don't think it's I keep saying this about all the politicians, especially the Republicans, I've noticed. They're all marrying Latin women and having children. So even though Arnold didn't marry a Latin woman, he slept with his maid. And so if you look up his kid, it's like, damn, it's like a Mexican Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Somebody right here is saying they thought that LeBron and Dwayne Johnson would dip their toes in politics too. I would love to get on my soapbox and talk about how much I detest Dwayne Johnson. I don't really detest him. I just want to talk about how improbable his whole narrative on Osama bin Laden is. And it just pains me a little bit because first off, Osama bin Laden was not killed by SEAL Team 6 under Obama. Agree or disagree?
The amount of things and conspiracies that you can attach to just SEAL Team 6. Come on now. It's like as much as I think the Queen really died on the day they announced, I think
You
that
do?
no, that's what I'm saying. As
Oh,
logical as I think
okay.
that is, that's as logical as I think the date they decided to tell us about Osama bin Laden. I wish I could pull out his CIA name right off the top of my head.
I know. So Osama bin Laden, in my opinion, died many years prior to his publicized death from kidney disease. And then they propped him up, as a Weekend at Bernie's, Weekend at Biden's
I
type
don't even
thing.
think he had kidney disease. I think all the dialysis stuff was bullshit to make it seem still like he was actually living in a cave in Afghanistan when in
That's some
reality he was a
CGI.
CIA agent. He was a
That's some
CIA
CGI
agent the
shit.
entire time. His beard and it's the same way I'm like, if you can make a character out of Elvis, if you can make a character out of the Queen, if you can give him two articles, sideburns and sunglasses, crown and pearls. Yeah. So his is beard and a turban. If we can do that, then we can make anyone Osama bin Laden. And that's just what I feel like they do. It's like some characters, they don't even have to fake. They don't have to clone them. They don't even have to make someone wear a mask because no one really knows what Hillary looks like.
As nobody knew what he looks like. And so to hear Dwayne Johnson go onto this whole tirade, and he did it on the news circuit for a while, where he offered that he was close to someone on SEAL Team 6 and that in the waking moments, hours after Osama bin Laden was killed, that one of them contacted him, violating like every operational security that exists, to disclose to him that they had indeed killed Osama bin Laden. And it's just the loosest, dumbest, but it's a story that they put out there to make it all seem cohesive.
See, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is from a legacy WWE, which used to be WWF family. The amount of conspiracy that you could go into just with professional wrestling, from the storylines to actually how politics in the real world works, it's all professional wrestling. It's all game theory. It's all like setting up a narrative, and professional wrestling is
a window to the real world.
Yes. And so all the characters from the Twin Towers to, the Iron Sheik to Hulk Hogan in America to when they turned into like the Wolf Pack and New World Order. It's all like this, the everyman. Here comes Steve Austin. And then The Rock. And you look at all his symbolism and his bull symbolism, which if you look at Zeus and Jupiter, big, huge symbolism of Zeus and Jupiter is the bull. So, I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a piece of shit. But LeBron James is China piece of shit, like next level. He is as guilty as Tom Hanks for pushing the COVID narrative with his plasma bag and all that. LeBron James he's such a narrative pusher, from the Trayvon Martin black hoodie, which was such a start of a big, huge ritual, to taking a knee and, no justice, no peace chants for, Baphomet or whatever they're chanting for. But LeBron James is always doing the narrative and always heading up the NBA narrative. And I also think a big, huge thing for the evil they, LeBron James is 23. Michael Jordan is 23. Bull symbolism everywhere again. I just think it's not happenstance. Michael Jordan's dad died because of his gambling addiction. So I just am like, I don't know. I think sports, there's so much conspiracy in sports.
But like, that's what, for me, you're always going to hear me talk about the sim, but like, that is so, like, the intricacy of the synchronicity of the connection on this, like, it's just so perfect. It has to be artificial intelligence.
Oh, since we're on the sports, I know a majority of the audience we've decided is like ladies, but since we're on the sports, and it's a way to kind of mix for the ladies, will you talk about Giselle and Tom a little bit?
It's on my list. Okay, yes. Ladies, gentlemen, I don't know if you know this, but Giselle is a witch. Like a self-professed witch, in the sense that she believes in manifestations and altars. I mean, obviously I don't know her playbook per se, but you go back and you listen to Tom Brady speak on camera in the peak of his career, and he talks about all the rituals that she made him do and the altars that she created and the manifestation that she did. Like, she was just doing her own little witch shit. And that's why he was so successful. And now that they have separated in this whole, I mean, obviously it's celebrity bullshit. It's a perpetuation of Loosh. Like, all of that aside, Homeboy came out and he's looking like a gaunt man. And so if you think about it, it's interesting that, like, she agreed to be in this relationship. Let's say it's real. Let's say that they did love each other, and she poured herself into him for all of this time and did everything for him and made him the best of the best, knowing that one day he was going to reciprocate that energy and put it back into the home. She just had to pay her time into it. And then he said, psych, I ain't gonna do that at all. And now he looks like she has withdrawn all of the energy from him.
She sucked the youth out of him, it looks like.
She's not a succubus, but she looks like she did succubus on him.
And it's a thing, you know, we talk about it for like voodoo or Santeria or whatever certain, if you ask for a deity to give you something, that can happen, but you have to repay that thing. And it might not be pleasant if you don't repay it on time. Most likely it's not going to be, because when you ask for stuff of like super material world like that, it almost
like
seems
superhuman
like
strength, you know, like she helped you get to the tippy top of the tippy top. And then you didn't reciprocate. And now she's just going to like take it all away from you. Woman scorned.
And then, okay, what about this? If like we're going to narrative right, one thing I just have to say about the Patriots, with it, which I think is a huge conspiracy. I think the guy's name was Alex Hernandez, and he was like accused of murder, and it's all this crazy stuff that went down with him. I think that guy was set up and framed. And Robert Kraft, the guy who owns the Patriots, he was busted for like nefarious stuff with human trafficking in Florida. Like, he wasn't involved in the human trafficking. He was hooking up with the people who were human trafficked. And because his lawyers got him off, hundreds of dudes got off. It's like he found the loophole for nobody to get busted for this. And they just set it up. Like, when the newspapers talk about it, they say massage parlor, happy endings, blah, blah, blah. But there was ladies that were taken from different countries. Their passports were being kept from them. They were being trapped in these places, like trapped in these places. So it wasn't just like rub and tugs. Yeah, I think the Patriots. Oh yeah, the narrative. So look at what is the word patriot now in America. It's not cool to be a patriot. It's borderline being a terrorist. So you got Tom Brady. He's like Tom Hanks going from being a patriot to a buccaneer. So it even does this word play where it's like patriots are now pirates.
Isn't that interesting though? You and I talk about this often. I talk about this often, how 9/11 as like a false flag psyop made it seem like it made you feel like a patriot, you know, and like the Americans versus everyone, Americans versus the Middle East versus terrorism versus all this kind of stuff. We became very proud of the Patriot Act. We became very proud to be a patriot, when none of those things that they were teaching us were necessarily associated with that. But you said from a patriot to a terrorist, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that's like the Alex.
So think about that loop that we've been on, that in 20 years, they made us seem like the most American patriot. And that was like the desire of the desires post 9/11. And now being a patriot 20 years later equates you to a domestic terrorist.
And Alex Jones always said it was going to happen that way, because he's also a narrative teller.
Now, something you said about the human trafficking, and you were talking about massage parlors and that type of thing. Have you ever seen the show on Amazon with Paul Rudd called Living with Yourself?
I don't think so.
Okay. It came out a couple years ago. It's very short in nature, like a limited series type thing. I don't ever think it did a season 2, but it's about Paul Rudd and how he discovers that he can clone himself by going to this like particular massage parlor. Now, I can't get into like the merits of this conspiracy because I don't know it off the top of my head and I'm not prepared. But there is a conspiracy that Tom Brady is a clone and that he's cloned himself 6 times. And
like multiplicity.
What is so on the nose is what the writers of this TV show, Living with Yourself, did. Is the first time that Paul Rudd goes to the massage parlor to inquire about cloning himself, Tom Brady walks out. Like he's a character in this show.
Mm.
It's just like they're being on the nose for those who know. Otherwise, people are just like, "Oh, look, it's Tom Brady in this."
That's so clever.
But for the ones who know, it's like, are you doing this because it's a conspiracy, or are you doing this because it's a conspiracy, but you're also soft disclosing it to us, and we'll never be able to tell?
Like, what is that? The observation of the method, or wait,
revelation
of the method? Yeah, totally. Like they have to tell
Anyway.
us, fool me once and fool me twice. Even when
Fool me,
Bush
can't
said
get
it
fooled
to,
again.
even when he said it to us, he was like, "This is really you guys.
Fool
You
me
guys are
once,
making fun of me, and it's really
shame
you."
on you. Fool me, can't get fooled again. If only that were the truth. I just keep fooling myself over and over again. Okay. Speaking of pop culture, I can't make that noise on here. Okay, Adam Levine. I know I could sound like the Ring girl. It's only for my special moment in my life. No, Adam Levine.
When do you pull that out?
Never. I was just saying, it's real special. 2 or 3 times.
Like
in my
somebody
life.
gets out of the shower and you're doing a back bend.
I can do a back bend, but no, I don't do it like that. I just do it like weird on the phone, being strange. Anyways, Adam Levine, what a loosh fest. But I think they're trying to break down like the family. Like
Is he cute? I can't get into it. Okay.
He's on that whole like Pete
I always
Davidson
wonder
track.
sometimes with boys, like
not for me.
Okay. I don't think so either. I actually think Pete Davidson, I would be more likely to hook up with Pete Davidson than
I think the narrative contributes to like the breakdown of like the nuclear family and the perpetuation of this narrative of like thruples and ethically non-monogamous. And I'm going to get back to that in a second. The only thing I want to say about Adam Levine is he must have the most fucking vanilla sex of his life, because those are the most vanilla text messages I have ever seen in my life.
Read them.
Like, are we fucking 8 years old sexting over here? Like
that body.
Guys, oh my, hold on. He goes, holy fuck. That body of yours is absurd. So I'm laying there. I just sent you a picture of like my ass cheeks spread out, and you go, that is absurd.
That's the best word that he could come up with.
Oh my God. It's like, I saw this meme one time, and it's like females will go and craft like paragraphs upon paragraph sex, and a guy, his only retort will be like, oh yeah.
And the crazy part is it seems like girls are so much more stimulated by words.
I don't know. It depends on the guy. I've always put myself in long distance relationships, so it's lended to this being very wordy. But man, a sext from the wrong dude is just shoo uncomfortable.
What would be like the worst line?
One of the worst lines is "let's cuddle." Let me just say
what?
That. Like when a dude you don't like is like, "Do you want to cuddle?" No, I can't find any more of the Adam Levine one. What's a bad, like what's a bad sext? I don't know. If a dude was like, "What do you want to do to me?"
If they were like, "Oh my God, Your
Actually, no.
body's absurd.
Your holy fuck, holy fuck. Your body
Holy
is absurd.
fuck. Your
Actually,
body is like Looney Tunes.
your body is so loony. Okay, this is a complaint actually. I was talking to somebody on Tinder and we were like talking about how we're like not when you have the conversation where you're like, I'm not looking for anything serious. I might be looking for a friends with benefits situation. It always becomes very sexual. And so like that's cool for a little bit, but like I'm not sitting here trying to like sex someone for the rest of my life. So it's either like kind of put up or shut up, like ask me out for a drink or I don't want to talk to you anymore. But one time I was messaging with this guy and I don't have notifications for Tinder on it on my phone at the time. So I would just kind of like happen to look at it whenever I looked at it. And he would want to jump in like he would want to have a sexual conversation every single time. And like, let's say he sent me something yesterday at 3:30 and I finally respond today and I'm like, oh yeah, that was hot. Or like, I don't know, whatever. I say something. And then he wants to jump right back into it.
Like whatever the energy was, he's like a 7.
Like right back into it. And it's just like, dude, I'm at my desk like eating a turkey sandwich. Like, I want to talk about this.
You're like, yeah, I'm so far away from hot.
But at the same time, if it's the right person, then I don't think any of my rules matter.
If the right person's like, you need to put that turkey sandwich down.
Go on, big girl.
You needed to put that turkey sandwich down and meet me in the parking garage.
Exactly. Okay. Adam Levine and whomever else we talked about.
He's a Hollywood legacy guy too.
Did you see that? What is the guy's name from Serial? What's his name? I should have looked
I don't
this up
know.
before. Did you ever listen to Serial?
No.
Oh, really? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Well, that podcast, I don't remember how many years it came out, but that guy got released from jail last week because of a podcast.
Tell everybody what it's about in case anybody doesn't know. I don't fucking
know, Cheney. I don't have it pulled up. You should just know these things.
I know. You know, when it's too mainstream and Serial was like one of those really hot shows, I'm just like, yep.
Okay. Serial came out in 2014.
You know, like that making a murder or something on Netflix, pretty much like Tiger King. I don't Tiger King.
Oh, you don't like to mainstream anything?
It's
you know, watching like The Dragon.
But I watched Game of Thrones from the OG first episode. I wasn't like a Jane come lately.
Okay.
I'm a person that appreciated it when it was wordy and not dark and action packed.
Anyways, a podcast came out within the last 10 years about an individual who had been accused of murder, had gone to jail for murder, and it was talking about the
And I love the Real Housewives and Bravo. So I'm not trying to be better than that. It's just my podcast. I would prefer to take in things like mymaria777 over Serial.
Right. But it was pointing out the inconsistencies in his trial and the evidence and like everything that had happened thereafter. And it created this like big national buzz. And I think it was it really took a step into like true crime podcasts that came thereafter. It's like a whole huge genre now. But to think that a podcast and an interest in an individual has now led to like his exoneration, if that's real, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like that how the internet helped supposedly find that guy that killed the cats in a bag or something.
Were we talking about this the other day that like if I were to ever get kidnapped, that like you would tell the followers, and I have faith that like they would figure out where I was?
Honestly, I have faith over like in anons and truthers and black pills and in red pills over like the fibby.
The old fibby.
The old fibby. because
Let
otherwise,
my followers know. I need, like, now that the queen has died, you and I have been like extensively talking about like our own demise and like what we're gonna plan. And I was like, I have to plan a puzzle for them.
oh yeah, like a treasure hunt. Like, wouldn't it be so much cooler? Like, I'm a person that doesn't have kids. So I'm like, what if I take all my wealth and slowly save up gold bars and bury it somewhere and make this next level treasure hunt, but old school? If you only know how to use a computer, you're going to be screwed. Like, it might teach new kids, like, you're going to have to drive stick shift on this one because only a Jeep's going to get through these roads.
Very like Ready Player One-esque.
But 3D, you have to like, oh, you're going to have to start a fire with sticks.
Okay, I'm gonna take you off in a random tangent right now. But before I knew what conspiracy theories were, there were like those old wives' tales, those other type of conspiracy theories that you would hear growing up. One of those that I heard growing up was a story about, someone that knew someone who knew someone who knew someone who went out one night and had this magical night with a man and danced the night away and came home, stayed together, fooled around in all the ways. And then she like never hears from him again. And then days later, a week later, something's going on with her. She's sick. She shouldn't be this sick. She can't figure out what's going on with her. Like there's like some sort of like pus thing going on in her mouth. And she goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, like, have you had sex with somebody that's been like fucking dead bodies? Have you ever heard this like conspiracy theory?
No, I thought you were just going to tell me something about monkeypox, not dead,
No.
not
Okay.
necrophilia,
Chat,
not
tell
back to
me.
Joe Biden.
Chat, tell me if you heard this growing up. I used to hear this like ever so often. That like somebody knew someone who like went and got their mouth looked at and it was like full of maggots or something like that. Like just like crazy necrophilia type stories about like hooking up with a dude that fucked dead people. Well, it came back around and I've been hearing this now over the last like week or two, enough to like write it in my podcast notes. And so obviously you have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. Does anyone
No.
else?
If you would be like, Cheney, did you have a hot dog girl in your high school? I'd be like, yes, there was a hot dog girl in my high school, but I never heard a story of a friend who kissed a guy with maggot mouth.
It was more like she gave him like
Horrible.
head and his dick had been in a
Oh,
dead person.
that'd be my worst nightmare. See, this is why I say it's nature and nurture. Some
Also,
people are born gay, and then other people suck a dick and get maggot mouth, and they're like, you know what? I'm never hooking up with a man again.
okay, moving on.
Maggot mouth.
Did you see where the CDC had to come out and say to everyone watching this video on TikTok, like, please don't cook your chicken with NyQuil? Did you see that there was like a TikTok about NyQuil chicken?
I was wondering, like, when I saw this, I was like, is this real or is this comms? It was so stupid. I didn't even believe. I don't TikTok.
I love that that's where we go.
I'm just like, this cannot be real. Like, my head's like, quill, like a pin. Follow the pin.
Chicken, poultry, popo. It's about the police.
Chicken. Oh, back to the FBI codes.
Conspiracy chicken. It's Cheney. She's the handler.
Conspiracy
Lord.
chicken.
Loaded. Okay. Oh, do you want to hear something funny? You already know this story, but I'm
Yes.
gonna tell you again. We got to catch up on like some personal shit.
Yeah.
So, not this weekend, but the weekend previous, I went to see The Killers, and it was incredible. It was such a good show. First off, I'm a dumbass who this time last year, it was like the last week of August, and I saw the Killers tickets. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go see the Killers in a couple weeks. Psych. It was a year later. Finally get to go. And decided I was going to take some mushrooms. I've been meaning to do that, but every time it's time, I forget the mushrooms and I like don't put them in my clutch because they're like hidden inside my closet. So I forgot my mushrooms, but I have this little tin of mints. And in my tin of mints, I have some drugs. Have I ever told you about my quarantine cocktail?
No.
This is funny. I'll say it real quick. The beginning of quarantine in like March 2020, I was talking to Day of Reckoning on the phone. If you guys know him, you know him. And we were just chatting about like, what are you doing? What the fuck is this pandemic? What's about to happen? He's like, I just left my drug dealer and I got what he's calling the quarantine cocktail. And it was just like a bunch of drugs that he bought. And I thought to myself, like, I didn't think to myself, I said to him, like, could I buy the quarantine cocktail? Because I've smoked weed all my life, but I've never been like presented with the opportunity to buy like drugs like that. So I thought, I'm going to buy them. I don't have any intention of doing them right now, but like, I just want to have them. So
Yeah.
in my quarantine cocktail was ecstasy and Molly. I took what I thought was ecstasy with me to this concert and took 2 of them, and absolutely nothing happened. Also turns out I think I took the Molly, but still nothing happened.
Damn. So much for a quarantine cocktail.
What is my life? Just sitting by myself, like I took one. I always set a timer when I take drugs. What about you?
No, never. And I always am like, when did I take that? How long has it been? But usually I always just find once I burp, I'm like, oh, I'm like seconds out. Like that's
Oh,
my
the
stomach
burp is the
accepting it.
indication.
My stomach's like, oh, okay. So it's only a few minutes out after that.
I know that like reality is starting to bend for me when I look at my phone and the letters start to squiggle and they wiggle back and forth. That's when I'm like, ooh, 'tis time. But
Do
I
you have
haven't.
weird like certain drugs? I have certain totems I take with me, like on my journeys of doing those drugs, and then they stay on me the whole time. It also is very sad when certain energies are in the room and they're like, all right, you guys, I'm going to bed. It doesn't even have to be a person that did a drug with you guys. They could just be hanging out for a little long, and they're like, all right, I'm going to bed, and you're like, no, God, no, please. I don't know. It's fun.
Here's the thing about me. I've done mushrooms and acid like collectively a handful of times, and I've only done it by myself. So I'm
This is
strange.
actually one of the
I've
things I
never done any
remember
of it with
about
anyone else.
you. When I first met you, it was like close to our birthdays, like a week or two before our birthdays. And you said that you were gonna lay in the bath and do acid or something. And I was like, by yourself? And you were like, yeah, this is what I do. And I play with my blue light.
I sure did, Shody. And I still haven't done it with anyone else. Actually, Ray and I took mushrooms, but it was just a little bit. It wasn't like crazy. It wasn't a heroic dose. It was like mushy. And that doesn't count for me. I'm
That's
talking about
funny.
like getting weird with people.
I think that too, if you do mushrooms, and we smoke weed a lot, me and you,
You and me? Smoke weed?
we have a high tolerance, I think, than most. And so I think sometimes when other people are just like, oh, I'm going to smoke a joint on a random Saturday at a concert, they get really weird. And we're like, what's wrong with this fool? But really, it's just because your tolerance is like, you're just smoking stoves.
Okay, this is an actual funny story. With this time last year compared to my other ones. This time last year, I met this guy. I'm going to use his real name. His name's Keith. And because I don't even know what to fucking call Keith. Keith doesn't matter. We hung out for like a month or two, and I introduced him to mushrooms. Funny. But when we first started hanging out, like you're saying, I smoke weed all the time. My tolerance is it is what it is. Most of the time I feel like I don't even get high anymore. And I think we'd like smoked once in the car together, and this is like the first time we were smoking in person. And I got whatever we were doing. I don't know if it was a joint or a bowl. And he hit it. And he hit it like a cigarette. Like just like in and out. And I like watched him do it again. And I was like, Keith, I'm going to teach you how to smoke weed tonight. Like, he's older than me. And so I do, and I teach him how to inhale. And I have to like go run an errand, and then we're going to eat dinner. And he literally was so high. He was like, did you drug me? And I'm driving, and I'm just like, what did you just say? He's like, I think you drugged me. Like, I'm a little scared right now. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're literally 39 years old. You smoked weed for the first time in your life tonight. Like, I just showed you how to do it. And he kept being like, is this really what this is supposed to feel like? Over and over and over again. I was so mad at the end of it. I was like, we're never hanging out again.
You're not a Pied Piper
What does that mean?
where you're gonna take somebody on a drug experience.
Oh, I could be, but not when you're accusing me of drugging you over and over again. And every time I'm like, hey, sweet Keith, like, it's okay. Like, you're just inhaling.
Sweet Keith.
And you're like, he's like, no, you drugged me. And I'm like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out of here. We went to Hooters and ate dinner that night. And then later when I saw him again, he had like no recollection of that whatsoever.
It's been a long time since I've been that high on marijuana.
I don't know that I've ever forgotten anything on marijuana.
I'm not a blackout router.
Ooh, I am. Alcohol. Shoo. I brown out. I say that sometimes where I like float in and out of consciousness. That's one of the reasons why I don't drink that much anymore.
Okay.
Because who is in control of Maria at that time?
That's what and someone's driving. So you know how Joe Rogan and Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer and Ari Shaffir do Sober October?
I didn't know that. No.
Oh, well, they used to do this thing, and sometimes they would, do hot yoga every day for 30 days. Sometimes they had to learn something new. Sometimes they had to read 2 books, and then, whatever it is. But I was thinking we had a couple of days to come up before October, but I wouldn't want to do it on like closer to Halloween, but almost all of October. But we should do something with your audience. But we could
go on a trip though.
Oh, where are you going?
I want to do a little drugs to New York.
Okay. Well, what about if it's just exercise?
Okay.
Because we don't really drink that much. Yeah. What about if it's just exercise? What about if we commit to some kind of exercise every day or something? We can talk about it later.
Journal every day too.
Yeah, and maybe read a book or learn something new, or like we could make 3 things, but I think it'd be fun if everybody did it.
What happened to the chat, guys? Keep talking. I'm always watching. But yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We shall see. We shall see. I wanted to talk to you about weird synchronicities for me lately that like I literally have no one else to discuss this but here. Tennessee is in this process currently of changing license plates. And that started this year. Now, obviously, like I'm noticing all the 47s all the time, like whatever number I'm into, I notice, but on all of these license plates that are still like the old version that I've seen for the last year, I keep seeing patterns like over and over and over again, like patterns that I don't think are normal in any sort of way. Like it's always like the first number on each kind of thing are the same. So it's 1R5 and 1Q5. Like the letters in the middle aren't the same, but the numbers are the same on both sides. And like to think about, okay, if you're making license plates, you have 3 digits to go on the license plate. Like the number of possibilities that you have when you take like whatever 6-digit number that is to like its own power and beyond and beyond and beyond, like so many. So for me to see one of those, that would be one thing, but I keep seeing them everywhere where it matches, and it matches on like both sides of the license. I don't know. It's just weird. Have you noticed like weird synchronicities like that lately?
I'll have like a song put on my timeline and then I'll hear it all day. And it'll be something weird, or a TV show will be mentioned that nobody said for 20 years, and then I'll hear it all day.
Now,
It's
Cheney and I like to do weird stuff too. So you guys have to let us know if you do this. But like we like to put things on our timeline. So we'll be on the phone and I'll be like, Cheney, I was literally about to say the word dildo. That's not one that we would
yeah, I like how you looked around your room though and
I was like
saw it
literally
there.
looking for something. No, there's no dildo in here. We might say like the word plaid or the word lemon or banana, or we'll also pick like a set of numbers and we'll just think about it a little bit and then let it go and like try to see if it appears in our timelines.
Yeah, or like, you know, white horses. It'll just be something crazy. Rhinoceros is on your timeline. Something so kooky that is not like the everyday things that you see.
I
But
just have like so many weird questions I want to ask you tonight.
do it almost. Oh no.
No, they're just so
Okay.
random. Okay. Oh, first off, let's talk about this before I get random. NASA pulled a literal movie Armageddon today, like Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck. I don't want to miss a thing, and supposedly shot an asteroid out of the sky.
I don't understand what it means by shooting it out of the sky.
First off, did you see the video?
Yes, I did.
There is a fucking video. You guys go to, I think it's both on Maria and the Oracle. Go on Instagram, find this video that they proper and they act like it's almost as if there is a camera on whatever nuclear warhead missile that they are firing to this asteroid, and it's like showing and they're counting down, and there's all these like noobs in some sort of like small screen like jumping up and down so excited and like congratulating as if this is a real video.
SpaceX has gone off again and again and again and again, and NASA can't get this moon rocket off to save its life. The one that's supposed to orbit the moon twice. But then they're doing this thing like, oh, we shot some random satellite that's already been up there forever. And this is Earth defense. Just so there's not a comet that comes toward Earth. We can now do this thing. And I'm like, it's more laundering money with cartoons.
Also, can we talk about that video that there's like a light on this meteor as if like they have the ability to like illuminate something in like deep space where there is no light?
I know. And this is the other thing when you're like, oh, why is there no light from the sun in space? Well, there's no atmosphere for the light to reflect off of. But this camera and everything, the light
it doesn't affect that, like it catches all the right lights, like and then to consider that they are in space. What's the word? I'm transmitting audio and video to Earth and showing a simultaneous hit and explosion transmit data wise. Like we're supposed to believe that we can see that in real time.
But I can't even talk to my friends in Jamaica without. But if I drive to the fucking
valley over here, like I'm gonna lose the call with you.
Yeah.
Who's watching this and they're like, I'm just so proud of NASA, like look what they did. They saved us. They shot that asteroid right out of the sky.
I have a fuck, marry, kill.
Okay, then I have one more question about this.
NASA t-shirt, MAGA hat, pink pussy hat. Fuck, marry, kill.
Okay, I would kill the pink pussy hat. I would marry the NASA shirt for the irony, and I would fuck the MAGA hat.
I would fuck the NASA guy.
Oh, these are guys? I thought we were talking about inanimate objects.
Just inanimate objects.
Okay.
I'd Buckton Astor. I would kill the pink pussy hat and I would marry the MAGA hat
Naturally. Okay.
naturally.
Circle back real quick. I was
Circle back.
having this thought on the way home. I was thinking about who is the individual that watches this video and is happy and excited and thinks that like we have hit a new frontier and doesn't question the Armageddon of it all, doesn't question anything. Who is that individual? Okay. That individual might be sharing stuff about this on social media and like perpetuating the propaganda. And so then I thought, like, where's my notes? Like the positive points of being an individual who reposts stuff like NASA, like for your social credit score. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I think they put stuff that's so ridiculous out there, but for those who still believe, it's like, okay, well, John and Sally and Susie are all going to get like positive points on their social credit score because they shared this with their friends.
Because so like if you were to have like reshare the SpaceX and have a Ukraine flag in your bio, that those would be positive things on your social credit score. Or if you put the like stay vaccinated and you get a purple ring around yourself instead of just a pink ring, you know,
Yeah.
they're all positive on the social credit score system because you buy the most amount of narrative if you believe that.
Did you see that there is an Adderall shortage in the United States?
Okay. They did this whole big thing where they pushed opioids. And then everyone's like so shocked when there's after the opioids that there's a heroin explosion. Do they do this? So then they take, you know, everybody's already in this homeless, and the people that are still affording their Adderall, that are having their like underground addiction to methamphetamines, and they're carrying on about their middle American lifestyle, but all of a sudden they can't get their drugs. Now they have to go get meth somewhere. Like there's going to be you're taking like a whole genre and pushing them into a forced like nanny state. Like because it's all about this homeless and drug problem because we have to beg for them to come save us.
Well, it's all about reliance upon the state. That's a democratic model.
And
You
they
can
have to make the
anything you
drugs
want.
dirty.
Anything you want as long as you let us take care of you.
Yeah, I feel like most drugs they push far. It's if they can't reproduce it, big pharma wise, then the CIA is going to buy it all up and still sell it. You know, it's just it all feels like a racket.
The three big companies have not provided a specific reason
I've never done
for their
Adderall.
shortages. Okay.
I don't know. I just think out of all the drugs
You
that I've
just keep
tried,
interrupting me like right in the
sorry.
middle of a sentence.
I apologize.
Is your name HV tonight?
I apologize. I'm going to be quiet.
No, you're fine. I haven't been prescribed Adderall. I have been prescribed phentermine, which is just as bad.
Is that like ephedrine?
Mm-hmm. It's like the PC version of fen these days, which you can get like going to. I get it from my primary care physician.
Is it for ADHD and ADD?
No, it's a diet pill.
Oh, okay. So,
but it's essentially the same thing as Adderall.
Yeah, like just a small amount of meth. A little kickstart your. Maybe I should take Adderall. I wouldn't interrupt so much. I would be hyper focused.
I used to get really frustrated in law school because I was this person at the time that I didn't want any cheats. I didn't want any aids. I wanted to read the law, know the law, get the law, and like just be. Whereas everyone around me was like reading horn books and cheat codes and all this kind of stuff. And we had timed essays, but if you had ADD or ADHD, then your essays weren't timed, which was like crazy because like we were literally writing to the last second. So to think that you had all of the time in the world and then they got to take Adderall on top of that, like, that's not fair whatsoever. Like, if you're gonna get the time, I don't think you get the medication. But if you're gonna be time constrained, then you get the medication. But I just think this, like, woe is me, like povero me mentality for like minding your generations of like, he needs Ritalin, like he can't focus. I can't fucking focus either, but like I get shit done because I have to.
And maybe a part of the reason that the kids slowly couldn't start focusing is the teachers that were teaching them grew up in a house that some of them didn't even have TV. Then they had black and white to one TV. The kids were growing up with 10 TVs, 10 radios, video games. They didn't even, so now kids have how many more screens on top of the screens, even when the Ritalin. So it's just like the kids have a broken attention span by design, but they were getting taught by Ferrari brains, were getting taught by horse-drawn carriage brains. Of course they're like, here, they should have given the teachers meth. Right? Not the kids. It would have made more sense.
Did you see, so twofold thoughts on COVID? The CDC, somebody comes out, or is it the not the CDC, but the blood bank? Who's the big blood? The American Red Cross comes out and says, hey guys, we're not going to be making any sort of distinguishments on the blood bags. They're either vaccinated or unvaccinated. We don't really care. We're not going to tell you either way. And people were kind of going up in arms about it. And they're like, hey, it's not a big deal because the vaccine is not traceable in blood. And then today, a study came out that said that women that were breastfeeding after getting the vaccine were showing trace amounts of synthetic mRNA in the breast milk. But it's not in the bloodstream.
That's the point. It's probably, it's all the point. Genetically modify the humans.
It's just like, oh, pat your local conspiracy theorists on the back. They've been, correct about that synthetic mRNA for the last 2 years. About
everything, really. It should let you, at this point, if you post something and you get a banner, it should let you know you're on the right track. Take that down because they'll ding you for it for the for the next AI. 5 years.
Tell them about what's going on with the AI.
What part?
Like you and I have been getting reevaluated by the AI.
Oh, from posts from stories from 2020. From stories, not even posts, like pictures from stories from 2020. One of mine says I was inciting violence. That says it's a picture of Jim Jones. And it says, remember, they can't harm you unless you drink the Kool-Aid. And it says inciting violence and all this stuff. And it was just in my stories. That's 24 hours. It can't even stay up that long. 2 years ago. So I just think, is it the AI out of control? But I have heard about somebody on YouTube of recent that they got their video taken down for medical misinformation. And they went back and were like, really? Here's the CDC. Here's the WHO. Here's all this stuff. You keep taking down my stuff, but you guys are allowed to post this. Here's Joe Biden saying all this. Here's all that. And they got their video put back up. So I'm like,
well, that's good.
Yeah, maybe it pays to do the legwork.
Maybe it doesn't actually pay, but maybe it pays.
And breast milk is a miracle liquid. It's up there. It's like probably like placenta, umbilical cord, breast milk. It's like there's these fluids that are so valuable to the whatever the evil day is, and they're so miracle to us that if you can put breast milk on 1,000,001 ailments and it will heal it. And wet nurses in villages, it used to be normal. I was having this conversation with somebody where they were like, oh my gosh, can you believe people like breastfeed other people's babies? That's insane. And I'm like,
that's that whole village mentality.
Yeah, that it used to just be that way, that there would be.
And the kings and queens, like the queens, they never breastfed their own children. They had wet nurses.
Yeah. So I think there is something super special about that fluid. And they'd want to tamper with it, but they know all this. If they've had those vaccines ready, remember, you can't have a billion vaccines ready overnight, or even if you run a machine, however quick. So whatever they known, whatever study that they tell us is going on, they knew everything they know. I'm just not a person that's like, oh, they're just after follow the money. I'm like, no, it's bigger than that. The evil, they don't care about money.
I was thinking the other day, I'm just like, I'm going to keep changing the subjects up on you.
Change it. And I'll try not to interrupt. But I will say, I have known you long enough now and have watched you on, been on lives, and I've watched other people interrupt you. And even your face, it's you've gotten so much better at handling it.
Because normally I'm very expressive. Like today in court, I had to wait 4 hours for a hearing that ended up getting continued a week. But we had this like short little motion hearing, and I was just being very theatrical today in court. So it bleeds over a little bit sometimes.
We were like all I
was laughing at the other side, and he was like, Your Honor, she should not be laughing when I'm speaking. And I just kept laughing.
And you're like,
I go, let me know when you're done. I love being a bitch in court. It's so much fun. So much fun. Okay. So I went and saw the Killers, and the next day I'm bopping around in the Bronco. This is pre-wreck. And I'm listening to Eric Clapton, and I thought to myself, wonder when this motherfucker's playing. And he was playing the next night in Madison
MSG,
Square Garden in New York City. And for a moment, I seriously considered going. And if Peyton wasn't still recovering, I probably would have gone. But anyways, you and I, we were like reminiscing. We were talking about classic rock. And our friend Alex, how old is Alex?
27 or 28, I think.
So 28, 34, almost 35, 44, almost 45. We talk like incessantly all day long. And Alex is so new and so green and like knows so many things you and I don't know. But she shared a song from the White Album. And I was just like, my heart, like, look at this girl going back to the basics.
Anyways, it was yesterday.
This was not yesterday.
No, that was the song.
Oh,
shared yesterday by the Beatles.
It was so good. So Cheney and I started talking about all of our favorite songs on the White Album, one of which for me is Helter Skelter. And so I shared that with Alex. And then I was like, Alex, do you know like the Charles Manson connection to Helter Skelter? And she said, no. And so I'm going to ask that to you now. Like, were you aware of that?
Yes.
For those who don't, Charles Manson, while he did not like directly kill anyone back in what was it, the 60s or 70s?
70s. They say that's when like the hippie movement died, is when Charles Manson's people killed Sharon Tate.
Killed the counterculture movement. But Charles Manson said that he would listen to the Beatles' Helter Skelter like on repeat, and that it was talking to him and telling him all of these things that it needed to do, which sounds so ridiculous now. And he
said that it was like an impending coming race wars. Specifically.
Yes. I'm not giving it enough justice. And that impending race war like pushed him to the brink of like what he was doing and like the message he was trying to offer. But now that seems so kind of ludicrous, and we would automatically assume that he was perhaps like a schizophrenic or had some sort of like mental health disorder. But have you ever heard of like whisper technology, whisper tech?
Yes. Or like, is that similar to the voice of God?
Yes.
Explain what it is though.
So I'm going to pull something up so I can read it better. But I was just thinking, like when I was explaining who Charles Manson was to Alex, and I was thinking about him listening to this song, because I fucking love Helter Skelter and it's incredible. And I listen to it over and over and over again. I don't think that race wars are impending or anything bad that's going to happen to me. But I was thinking about like whisper tech, and like we used to talk about whisper tech kind of on the boards and on social media and stuff like this when there would be like a huge school shooting. Or
Isaac Cappy would be a good example of it.
Okay, talk about that while I get this definition.
There was a girl, I don't remember her name now, But Isaac Happy was the guy that died on Highway 66 that Tom Hanks put up a glove the same day. He would post all these random clothing items of clothing. And Isaac Happy said that like Seth Green had torture dungeons in his basement, and he outed all these pedophiles on Epstein's list. And there was this girl driving in the same car as him through the desert in the middle of nowhere. And all of a sudden, in her head, she could hear Phil Collins in the air tonight playing, like, I can hear it coming in the air tonight. Hold on. They're just driving in the middle of nowhere. The radio is off. It's dead silent. She hears it inside her head. And she looks at Isaac Cappy and she's like, is this what's been happening to you the whole time? And he's like, yes. And so even something as ominous as just a weird song playing in your head that nobody else can hear, think of how maddening that would be. So
the voice of God is a weapon, a device that projects voices into your head to make you think that God is speaking to you. I mean, think about that. I haven't even like thought about this until this moment, but like think about that in the context, like that's Inception. That's like Inception on a whole other level. One like speaking, it's one thing to like delve quite literally into someone's mind and implant an idea the way the movie suggests. It's another to like, I was just watching this TikTok video today that was talking about how like if you recorded yourself, like all your affirmations, all the things that you need to say to affirm, and you listen to that as you went to sleep at night, that like you would be programming your subconscious directly with that type of affirmation. And so then to consider that like the military, the government, the architects, whomever's in charge could be using that same sort of technology to like speak to you directly in your head.
Well, there's a couple of little things that if you've ever been to like a science museum, they have where if you stand in a certain spot in the science museum, somebody can talk to you like right in here and you're the only one that can hear it and nobody else can hear it in the whole room. Or they have certain spots that you can stand in certain states that if you stand in the middle of the circle, there's like other circles that go around you. And if you talk in the middle, you can hear your own voice echo back to you, but nobody else can hear it. So it's like in the 3D basic of it, this stuff is happening. So I think, you were talking about HARP earlier. If you could pinpoint something like heat, even on somebody, not just on weather, just on somebody, like a hot flash, a hot flash, a hot flash, a
Hello,
hot flash.
Constantine.
Yeah. Or if anyone has ever messed around with the idea of tantric or the idea of sex magic or there's so many like I have people just experimenting with this. If the government's taken this to the next level, and then you also have somebody, Charles Manson, which there's proof that he was involved in the Berkeley experiments. And then there's also proof that he's involved in the Laurel Canyon conspiracy. So he's
like the perfect individual to like practice this technology on.
Almost, but he's almost just the fall guy. He's the Lee Harvey Oswald of the entire thing. He wasn't at the place. He was the actor that knew the most. And so they had to take him out and make an example out of him. But even in prison, like what was the loosh fest of him about to get released all the time? It was almost like the Sirhan. Like,
and like the women that weren't like, he had a wife. Didn't he like impregnate one maybe?
Yeah, because I feel like once he got married, he was allowed to have conjugal visits. But there's still Manson followers to this day. But he's all in the Laurel Canyon conspiracy. You can look up to the Mamas and the Papas, and you can look up to Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, and you can look up, and he's playing guitar with all these people. He's chilling with Mama Cass and chilling with, so I don't know. There's so much about the Hollywood Hills. And I think Jared Leto lives in the house now that like people say the moon landings were shot at. So it's like all still attached that
they just trade spaces.
Well, you and I talked about it a little bit with Mauricio from Real Housewives and how he used to be Hilton Realty and then he goes over and has his own real estate company. The elite have to sell their realty between each other because otherwise everybody else would find out about the tunnels.
Right? Like, I'd love to look at those disclosures,
But tunnels, example would be, Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion. We all know there was tunnels underneath. There's blueprints that you can find that go to
we've got
Nicholson.
screenshots of them.
Yeah, tons of, and it's like James Caan, Jack Nicholson, and Warren Beatty. I bet, because you can look at what's his stinking name that even killed, what was the guy that he was accused of rape later on? He's the director. He was Sharon Tate's husband.
I don't remember his name.
It'll come to me in a second. He's like a director and he's in Europe now. He's still alive. He's like a pedophile, blah, blah, blah. But he was set up in a weird way. But I would bet that there was tunnels that went to his house too, Roman Polanski. I would bet. And that's like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood plays with some of these people. But I would bet there was tunnels from the Playboy Mansion to his house too. So now imagine if the Playboy Mansion is the exact same as Epstein Island or Zorro Ranch or one of these places. It's a honey trap that we're setting up by the CIA. We get all the celebrities to go there. And if we can smuggle in and out anything or anyone, we could commit a murder and get right back to the mansion if there was a tunnel at Roman Polanski's house. So there's just these... Yeah, no, there's just these little things that the Playboy Mansion of the Fall of the White Rabbit of it all, that would be.
I wish we could take like a cross section of the Hollywood Hills just to see how connected it all is.
Oh yeah, the same. It's like Denver Airport. It's, if you think there's anything, how could you not think there's anything in the Rocky Mountains? The oldest of civilization.
They're all everywhere. Like I'm of the opinion that there's probably some sort of tunnel network under like the whole thing.
I think so too.
You want to know one of my favorite fun facts that I pull out of my ass whenever I need to? When Eisenhower designed the interstate, every 3 miles, the interstate is supposed to be straight completely for 1 mile, so that in time of war, an airplane could land. So you think every 3 miles, that's the precision and the planning, obviously, that went into that. How could they not be doing something underneath at the same time? I don't know.
No, I totally, if it's all about wartime, if it's just Autobahns, like that's the way we just connected our country. But I did not know that about airplanes.
You'll notice it now when you drive on the interstate.
Yeah. I always wonder why more of the interstate isn't straight. Sometimes I'm like, why are all these curves? Like, what's this all about?
Perfect time. I got to draw a diagram for the class. Okay. This might just be me being high. I don't know when I'm driving, but I'm going to draw this sign real quick. Hold on. That's so bad. Got to do it again.
I don't want to bring up another conspiracy while you're drawing that, but it's kind of to do with driving too.
Okay. Can you
zoom in? No, go over it a bunch of times with the pen. Thicken it up. Make it thicker. Make it thick.
I need some thick. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
I got to angle my ass. Okay. Anytime you see one of those signs, and you see these a lot in Tennessee because it's so windy, it always starts over here to the left, it curves to the right, and then it comes back around. There's no signs the other way. There's no signs that start and come to the right and then come to the left and come back around. There's only this type of sign. And then the more I look at it, there's only that type of road. Like, at least the way that I keep encountering it. They're like, it always starts to the left. Just like the sign. That might just be me being weird, but.
Or the Matrix has to be set up that way.
Right. It might just be
like
one of
that
those
precise.
Rules. Those rules of the Matrix.
So you know how we know if you put in Google, anything into the Google bar, it pushes shit to the top, whatever it wants to push. Whatever your search engine, it pushes like it has a narrative it's setting for you. Don't you think Google Maps and the way everyone's driving, it could set it so you drive by less healthy businesses. You
there's
are spending more
advertising
gas.
involved in that. If you can't see that already.
Yeah, like, don't you think like it's such a loosh, like a way it could guide you? Like it could lead you into the amount we are all trusting this Google Maps to just throw us around the planet.
Tell us where we're gonna go.
Yeah, it's pretty insane to me.
I always think I'm smarter than it too. And most of the time I'm not. Like I don't like Waze. Waze upsets me for some reason. I've deleted it now from my phone. But I like a back road. I like to go the long way.
Me too. That's a country song.
That's
But
country song. Okay. What else can we talk about? We're rounding up on 2 hours.
well, we could go into all Beatles conspiracy and Paul
I
is
need more
dead.
time for that.
We
Holy
could go
fuck.
into
Holy fuck. That
Yoko
body of
Ono really
yours is
saved John
absurd.
Lennon. And she got put that she broke up the Beatles, but really she rescued John Lennon.
This is a weird thing. I gotta go on driving again while we're talking about it. So I drive to Knoxville a lot and I drive fast. I don't know about I know you don't drive fast, but like when you're on the interstate, do you ever think of people as like your buddies, like when you're driving? Like when I'm on the open road and like somebody starts
I just
going with
picture you
me.
being like, "Are you my soulmate?"
Are you my soulmate? Yes, I'm still saying that. But I'm just like, do you ever get like a road buddy and you guys are just like working in tandem and you're hitting it, and you're going. And then like sometimes your road buddy leaves and I'm always like, you didn't wave. I don't know. I guess I just make like really interpersonal relationships that don't exist while I'm driving.
There's two kinds of I realized the dad of dads when you're driving. Like there's the like nod, like you nod, but the dad of dads is when you have your hand on the steering wheel. I'm gonna put my hand and you just do this.
Yeah. I do the peace sign a lot. I like to stick my hand out the window and give the peace sign.
I do the whole hand. Give him the whole hand. Thanks.
But you
Thanks,
know, like
homie.
somebody you're in tandem with and you're moving and grooving and like you might have to get over into the right lane, but like they let you back in and it's not about winning because you just keep switching around. And then every time I expect someone to be nice to me, I'm like, oh, that's my road buddy. They're gonna let me in. Nah, dog. They sure don't.
Like what? I let you in 2 exits back. I thought we were
We're friends.
vibing.
I want to connect with someone so badly.
You have a white car. I have a white car.
Are you my soulmate?
I was like, we both like Toyotas.
No, I don't ever like get deep with it. I'm just like, okay, this person, we're driving. We're gonna hit it. This is my road buddy. Nah. Nah, nah, nah. Okay.
Road buddy.
Oh, we should do a follow-up
Yeah.
to the
Oh,
flower
yeah.
story. I don't want to go into it too deep,
Follow up.
but
I feel like your audience loves a good My Maria love story.
where do we begin? No, we'll do something quick and easy. Well, guys, will I ever find love? Probably not. All an effort to teach me to continue to love myself, even though, as Shani and I discussed today, like, do you ever just like really, really, really love yourself and like you think you're the coolest of the fucking cool inside? And like sometimes you might struggle to like be that like outwardly, but like inside you just think you're so fucking cool. I'm gonna get back to this. Hold on, it'll make sense then. You guys, if you don't know, you got to go back to the episode Flowers in the Attic and listen to it. And you got to hear the story about me sending Ray's mother and grandmother, whom I never met, flowers in August. And if you go and you listen to the whole thing, you'll eventually come to the conclusion that like A, I'm a psychopath, or B, I'm a hopelessly romantic psychopath.
And, this is sometimes I don't even know why, because you give me the illusion sometimes that you're asking for advice, but I learned now that you're going to do it regardless. And anytime you either say, I did something Or you send it to me and you're like, what about this? And I'm like, you're going to do it. It doesn't, it doesn't matter. But
I just want to see if anybody will validate like my craziness, you know?
you're crazy, but it's
I'm
like,
just
you
crazy
really,
for love.
yeah, you're
That's it.
a real hopeless romantic.
Anyways,
Hopeless. I never even noticed the word hopeless.
I didn't either
phrase.
until people keep pointing it out to me that they're like, you're not hopeless romantic, you're hopelessly romantic. And I'm like, oh, damn, hopeless romantic sounds awful.
Yeah, I just realized it this week too, thinking about you. Like, oh my gosh, you're a hopeless romantic.
Hopelessly romantic. Anyways, guys, go listen to Flowers in the Attic. Tell me what you think. Slide into my DMs. Let me know if I'm a psycho or not. But dun dun dun. Have not seen or really talked to Ray in 2 full months. And I saw him this weekend. Did it live up to my expectations? Never. Nothing ever does. It was literally like, it was so wild. But the moral of this, I don't know how much type of like level of detail I should go into. Ray and I see each other at the golf course. I'm actually literally driving up in my golf cart. The sun is in my eyes. I've got my sunglasses on and I've got my hand up while I'm driving. And I see this man at the front door. I'm like, could that be Ray? Nah, there's no way he's coming to dinner tonight. He knows I'm going to be here. I walk through the front area lobby. It smells like cigarettes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He's there as soon as I walk in. It's so awkward. We play this game all night. We eventually make eyes. And I don't know, Cheney, I'm in this like position where like the things I'm about to say about him objectively sound so terrible.
When you hear yourself say them.
Yeah. And the more that I keep saying them out loud, like I've told it to you, I've told it to my mom, I told it to my best friend, I told it to my boss today, and I'm like, oh, what? And like he was really mean to me and he hurt me this weekend, and I don't want him. Like I've pivoted from that, but still something in my heart and intuition like hurts for it. But I gotta move on. Time to go. Anyways, if you guys know this story, you know that like our relationship started from a business transaction. And the like first thing he says to me is, you might be getting your land back. I'm going to default on our agreement. And like, you guys, like, this is a very good agreement for me. Very like a one in a lifetime type of situation to like receive my piece of land back and receive money that I just get to keep. But like, this motherfucker is just going to fold. It's just so wild. Anyways, long story short, doesn't work out the way I wanted to. Breaks my heart, but I'm so pure of heart the whole time. And I'm so proud of myself for that. Like, I don't give any fucks these days about what somebody thinks about me. I don't care if you judge me. I don't care if you laugh at me. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about you and exactly what I want to say when I want to say it. And if you laugh at me, like, I still think I'm fucking funnier than you. You know? And this is where I get to that point where I'm like, I think I'm great. I think I'm the coolest cat. Like, if you don't see it, what? I can't wait here anymore.
Yeah.
You didn't want to interrupt me. You're literally just waiting.
No, I think it's just a whole, you had a little bit of long distance relationship in it, but then you also got like some cuddles and some sexual relations.
No.
I know, but
Anyway,
you
it was a lesson. Everything is a lesson. But to bring it back full circle with my flower story, he like sends me this audio message yesterday. He broke up with me for like 3 main reasons. I told him 3 things about myself that that I loved when we first met. And then when he broke up with me, he used those same 3 things and said that we were fundamentally different. And so when we were like flirting and playing on Friday night, I was like, you're a fool. Like, let me break down all these things you said. And I broke all 3 of them down.
this is
the lawyer. In
this
me.
is the lawyer. This is the like.
I'm like, listen, I know you said you don't love me, but like, that's fine. But like, your argument is like lacking and without. So like, don't.
She's like, Your Honor, can I just come?
Your Honor, just like one more thing. Just one more thing I gotta say. No, it's just like, just say you're scared. Don't blame it on me and like all these great aspects about me. Anyways, so I break these 3 things down. And Sunday he sends me this audio message, this 3-minute audio message to make sure that I know that despite these 3 things and like his hypocriticalness involved, that he still doesn't like me. That we're fundamentally different, that we never jived, that we never vibed, that there was never anything going on, and that I'm a borderline creep. I'm borderline creepy. So that is the title of today's episode.
Just because you hit it home.
Borderline creepy.
just because when people
this
are
is my
like,
shadow work.
Yeah, when people try to take an inch with you, you're like Mariana's Trench.
No, somebody tries to take an inch with me. I'm like, oh, you want to make fun of me for this? Let me just show it to like my 10,000 friends. Like,
yeah,
we'll laugh at you.
Everybody has shadow work, and it's like, if we have a cup of shadow work, we have a bottle of shadow work, and we have to pour it out however fast. You just go on to your audience and you're like, all right, here's my shadow work.
I'm like pouring it on my tits. Like, here you go, guys. Let me tell you about all the ways I fucked my life up.
I know, but you are pure of heart. Like it's like you're naive in this way that no one would guess. When it comes to love, you're like a teenager.
Hopelessly romantic. Hopelessly.
You're like, isn't there any other teenagers that want to be like, we're teenagers, but we're gonna play in the adult world?
Yeah, I just want to be like young, dumb at heart forever, slightly obsessed, and just take over the world, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Why is it gotta be so difficult?
Well, there's already fundamental differences about you guys that weren't anything to do with your vacationing.
Right.
Yeah. I just think we're in an easy place right now of you right from the get. If somebody didn't have to and they still did, like, it's already bad enough to me if you were playing needle and mask games. But if you didn't have to do that and you decided to still do that, right there, like, I don't know what the word man means, but it can't be included. So if I were a straight lady, I would want to be with a man, and it wouldn't be with somebody that's taking needles in their arm just because. So yeah, that would be like a fundamental difference that I would be like, that's weak arm bullshit.
Also, this dude, we were talking about wine. I'd had a beer and I just ordered a steak. And so I'm looking at this server and I was like, may I please have a glass of wine? And I looked at him like, are you going to order something? And he was like, wine. Haven't had wine in about a month now because the last time I drank it, I got sick. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm so sorry you got sick. He's like, yeah, I was laying in bed and I threw up all over my floor and my wall. And I haven't cleaned it since. I was like, what? Like, yeah, I went on my trip. I haven't cleaned it since. It's almost kind of totally blend in by now. And I'm like listing off. I'm like, you could have done this. You could have done that. And he laughed and he thought it was funny and cute. And I'm looking at this like 44-year-old man thinking like, why have I been so upset about this?
But I think it was like a good little mix of like the long distance mixed with real life, mixed with, it's like you're slowly getting back to real life. Like not a real life, but instead of just an inner, like a long distance relationship,
Right.
it's getting closer in proximity.
And so the thing I wanted to say at the beginning of this that sounds fucking ridiculous, but I don't think it is like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, not necessarily, I was about to say deep down, but not necessarily deep down. Deep down, I think I'm really cool and I think I'm awesome and I think I'm a catch. I'm a unicorn and I keep waiting for someone to like feel the same way as me. But then at the same time, like being in this like 3D world, I can like really underestimate myself and I have imposter syndrome and anxiety and I fuck shit up all the time. You know, when like you can make fun of your family, but if somebody else makes fun of your family, you're like, what?
Oh yeah.
It's like I can make fun of myself and I can talk bad about myself, but deep down I still think I'm awesome. I don't know.
You just own your nerdiness. It's like, geeky in a fun way and you own it and you're like, but that's a fun trait about me.
It is. It's fun. It's really weird. Ray's been the first person that like truly, I told him about Maria pretty much out the gate, follows Maria, watches my stories. Like that's been interesting. This is the first time I'm like really navigating allowing somebody to like be aware of this part of my life and like be like you could be aware of it and not participate in it, but then to like see it and participate in it. I don't know. It's strange.
It's baby steps.
But I want you to like it. Like I want you to like inquire about it. I want it to like intrigue you. But I don't want to tell you to do any of those things.
Somebody asked if you're Venus, you're a hopeless romantic. Are you a fellow Venus in Taurus?
No, I'm a Venus in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I'm so crazy.
Flames.
Light
blue flame, light the whole woods on fire.
That's why I do crazy stuff for love. You guys, I gotta retell the Constantine story sometime. I would drive and like I thought this person got hurt and I drove to Roanoke like looking for him. I'm so crazy. I just want somebody to reciprocate that for me though, you know?
Yeah, but the right somebody. It's like the morning text from the wrong person.
Don't send girls good morning text. Make it better. Send an audio message. Send a dick pic.
Send a dick pic?
Else. I like a dick pic.
Like a good dick pic? A
like
good Grand Rising? Video.
You know?
What about if it was good morning, it was a dick dressed as a Grim Reaper?
That would be funny. I actually prefer good
morning. If I had a penis and sent dick pics, it would be like Mr. Potato Head. Everyone like the amount of outfits I would give my dick.
We were talking about this. Okay, you're dressing your dick up. We were talking about this the other day. I was like, if I was a dude, shoo, I'd be having sex all the time. Have to get a vasectomy. There'd be children everywhere.
You'd have a whole. You'd be Nick Cannon. No pun intended.
Hayden's telling me it's time. The podcast is over. Almost, boo. What was I gonna just tell you? I don't know. Your Venus is in Scorpio. What does that say about you?
Deep, mysterious.
Deep AF. Do you have Scorpio anywhere else other than Sun and
Scorpion Sun, Scorpion Venus, and I think Scorpion. I have 3 for sure. I can get it so fast. Sun, yeah, I was gonna say Uranus, but yeah, Uranus, Venus, and Sun. Scorpion.
Okay, I want to tell one more funny story because I got called out on it recently. I don't think I've told you the story. You might have heard the first part of it. Do you remember Craigslist when it had casual connections? Mm-hmm. I fucking loved that shit. I never participated in it, but I loved to read it. Did you ever read it?
I know what you're talking about. In Portland, they had 2 local papers, free papers. I'm sure Nashville has one. In Portland, it was like the Portland Mercury and Willamette Weekly, I think, but they had that kind of idea written in it where if you saw someone on the bus or something or saw them on the sub, whatever you were
Oh no,
taking.
this was like basically ads for like sex, like male.
Oh,
to
I thought you were talking about
female.
I was parked and getting in my
No,
car
we're
and
coming
you
back.
were
That's
okay.
missed connections. This is just casual
See,
encounters.
okay.
Are you listening? No, I'm just kidding.
I just
This is
I have a sweet disposition and think like it's like, oh, I saw you on your bike.
we're coming back to that. But prior to Trump really like taking Backgrid down or Backpage, excuse me, down back in like 2017-ish, all of those websites came down around the same time for promoting child trafficking. I just love to read the casual encounters, but they no longer exist on the website. So there's also missed connections, which is what you're talking about, where it's like you and your punk rock blonde hair with the black skunk. I saw you on the bus and you smelled like this and I want to talk to you. Like something weird like that.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life, I've wanted to find myself in the missed connections. Like I wanted to read one and be like, that's about me.
I feel like I did one of those ones, or I thought one was to me once.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I was in Portland and I feel like it was a girl at the Mac counter.
Okay. The Mac or the Matt?
Mac, like the makeup.
Uh-huh. Did you meet
yeah.
up with her?
I feel like she came to my work. I don't know. I feel like maybe we went to the same party one night.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, one day,
rinsed out time.
one Saturday, like me and P are just like out and about driving around through Nashville, and I'm about to go to the lake, and I've got the windows down and the music playing, and he's sticking his head out the window, and I'm at this stop light, and I'm just kind of like in my own world, and I look over, and there's this white Jeep with the doors off, and I look up, and it's time to go, and so I start accelerating slowly, and I look over, and this guy's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's got sunglasses on and a hat on, and he looks kind of attractive from there. And we just kind of like have this moment, and we smile at each other, and we lock eyes, and we kind of give these like weird waves, and then people are honking, and we have to go. Just this like perfect meet cute. I'm always talking about my meet cute. And I'm just smiling like that was so great. And oh, actually, now I remember I turned around and I tried to drive like after him, and I went back the street that we were, and I drove down to the next street, and I turned around and I couldn't find him, and I was just like, aw shucks. And I thought about my sweet little meet cute, and I go to the lake and whatever, and then when I'm coming back that night, I'm like, could I be in a missed connection? So I get on there. No, I'm not. But I think to myself, okay, let's be the misconnection that you want to be in the world. And I make a post about this guy, and I like talk about it, and I say, when you reply to this email, tell me like what color car and what kind of car I was driving, so like I know it's real. And like lo and behold, a couple hours later, he like emails me back, and I was like, this is it. Like I wanted to have this missed connection my whole life, and I wasn't going to receive one. I just had to make it for myself. And so we text, and then we eventually exchange pictures, and like he is not cute at all. The hat and the glasses just made this expectation that wasn't real. So we eventually stopped talking, and I never hear from him again. I ghost him, like I do. And then like 2 weeks ago, one of my like former clients that I'm like good friends with, that I actually have given my cell phone number for, he called me to like ask me a question about something, and he's like, yeah, I heard you met my friend a couple months ago. I'm like, who's your friend? And he tells me the name, and the name doesn't register because I only talked to this guy like for 2 days. I'm like, I don't know who that is. And he was like, he drives a white Jeep. So I wanted to be on Misconnections this whole time. And then I made one for myself. And then I basically got made, and my
Real life.
For it.
In your real life.
Not quite as romantic as you want them to be.
No. No, the expectations. If you make it halfway, girl, you're gonna be stoked. Maybe not.
If I could get 10% of what I create in my mind, it'd be pretty good, right?
Probably. Probably for a little while.
Till I get bored. Till the Sag gets bored.
I know. That Sag fire burns out quick.
Okay, everyone, if you have made it to this point of the podcast, you are what we call an elite member. And to show your solidarity and let me and Cheney know that you have listened to the podcast, we would ask you to put an emoji out there. Cheney, what emoji is it going to be today?
Oh, you're gonna ask me?
Cheney's pick.
Shit.
Okay, we can come back to it. Cheney's going to pick an emoji here in a second. And if you could put it in some sort of public way, obviously I love a DM, but your classmates want to know who you are. So put it on Twitter, put it in a Facebook comment. And if you could listen, like, subscribe, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram at mymaria777, at the Oracle333. I'm on Twitter. You can sign up for my website. I sent everyone an email today about this.
I know, I got one.
Hopefully you're not upset that I emailed you today. What do you think, baby?
What about the comment?
Okay.
I
You
won't say
pick,
another
sis.
one.
It's all up to you.
I would say
it doesn't have to make sense, but it can make sense also.
Have you ever done a pineapple?
No.
A pineapple's good too.
Okay. Pick one. What's it going to be?
Pineapple.
Pineapple. You made pineapple today.
Yeah, I made a pink pineapple on my grill. Have you ever even heard of pink pineapple before?
Not until today.
Me either.
Oh, really? I thought you went with that intention.
I've never even seen it before. And I saw it at the vegetable stand, and they cut the tops off because pineapple, you can just like cut the top off and stick it in the ground and it'll grow. They cut the tops off because they have a patent on it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So if you ever get a pink pineapple, harvest the seeds out of it.
Was it good?
It was delicious.
Did it taste any different?
No, not really. But it was caramelized so much because it condenses the sugar on the grill, like heating it all up. So once the pineapple does that, it becomes next level anyway.
I made a prime rib this weekend, and it was just basically I cooked for Ray for this party, and then he wasn't at the party. So
you made something else good this weekend that you sent me a picture of, bacon wrapped
jalapenos.
Yum.
Let me upgrade your recipe. Instead of just cream cheese, I get the whipped cream cheese, and then I get garlic butter, and I mix it all together. And my bacon wrapped jalapenos they're like next level right now.
Yum. That seems delicious.
I just want a housewife, you know? Just want to cook. Come move in with me so I can cook for you.
That's all that's what
you and I would be one-upping each other. Hi, I want you to try this. No, I want you to try this. Why don't you try this instead?
I took some radishes today. Like, if you overcook them, almost like your dad would have made fried potatoes in the house for breakfast. Take radishes and cut them up and put them with onions, and then cook them separately in like your cast iron, and then grill your vegetables. But it's such a good add that I put it on top of like the Brussels sprouts. It was so bomb. Nice. I put Brussels sprouts on the grill.
I love Brussels sprouts.
I grilled everything.
Little bacon. I like to boil mine first sometimes and like get them a little plump so they don't burn.
Plump Brussels. I kind of liked it. The outside got a little bit charred. I put it up to like 600 so that it was still like al dente in the middle. So they were like still that little nutty cabbage flavor. I loved it.
So strange. Okay. Final thoughts from the class. Hello. Any thoughts?
Can I tell you my nerdy thing before we go?
Okay.
It's just so obvious to me. You know, I love words. And words are spells, and I think everything's hidden in plain sight. Ukraine is literally UK rain.
Okay.
has nothing to do with Russia. It's just a piece of Russia that the UK and UN they've come in and taken this part of land. So it's like a greater Middle East under the crown, and then probably very soon, like Israel, with everything going on with Iran, which we could talk about, that another time, because, there was the whole hijab burning and everything that's going on there and revolution. But I
Yeah,
just
when we
think,
come back, we'll have to talk about that and Snowden in Russia.
yeah, it's just, yeah, a little powder keg. But I just think Ukraine, if you even pull up the Ukraine crest and the Windsor family crest, they're so similar. I actually made a post on my Twitter about it that I'm like, I can't with this. It's too on the nose.
It's just, they're not that creative. They don't like go out of their way to be that different. Like the symbology's there.
Because if it sounds crazy to say like, oh, well, the United States never left the crown. If you actually look into everything that was signed and who we still pay taxes to and what king really had what to do with what and blah, 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 blah. And you look at the lands all over the world that they own. Here we are. Here we are. So it's like there's a king and all these other kings and people pay homage to this family.
They're just another family, It's like the Kardashians here.
But we flew on our capital, our flag for the queen at half mast. That's craziness. That says she still runs shit here, or they do.
But she's just a character. You go back and forth on this.
I think everybody's a character, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter of the political pool in the game that they have in the movie.
Right.
And I still have to be able to talk about them in this way of like, here's this person. Like, I don't believe any of it, but I still think the royal family has this like political power on the planet that,
Oh yeah.
and it probably isn't just under the Windsors. It's some German bloodline family thing that all attaches back to. But I just still think it's almost like, are we watching Europe at war with Russia, but the United States is the strong arm of this, as always? Like here, we're just like the big dumb bully.
I feel like we're that all the time.
Yeah. Like the big bulldog next to the little dog on the, like, the little guy tells him what to do. But that would be the safest way. You could keep your land safe if nobody knew you were running things.
True.
So anyway, yeah, that's it. I guess it's not as fun to end it with that.
Well, we love you. We had fun.
Fun.
Always fun. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. I'll call you after this.
Okay, bye.